We're live. What's going on, guys? How you guys doing? Just a random boxing stream. Any topic is welcome. Just ask whatever questions you want, really. One of those ones. No real topic. Nothing too much to talk about right now with what's going on. So I'll leave it down to you guys to dictate where this stream goes. Big up Melvin. What's going on, man? How you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. ABC Def in the building. What's going on, ABC? How you doing? Quiet evening, so had nothing better to do. So why not fire up a live stream? What else can we do right now, eh? What else can we do? Oh, don't worry, ABC Def. No problem at all, man. No problem at all. I've not exactly done loads, to be honest, anyway. You know, I forgot when I done my last live stream, if I'm being honest. I've not really been keeping up with it. I'd like to get, a couple per week, to be honest, but sometimes that's hard with, personal life and everything that goes on. So, but I've got time today, so I thought I'd fire one up. Stew Pot Mark II, big up. Big up. We've got John Wayne in the building. Hopefully you're doing well, John Wayne. Out there in the Wild West, shooting some bad guys. Hopefully you're doing well. I'm sure you guys like me have are suffering boxing withdrawal symptoms. I just want to see some fights. I've been going back and watching old fights, to be honest. I've seen a few old fights. Recently I watched Emmanuel Augustus versus Mickey Ward, man. That was a hell of a fight. Yo, big up to Jay's Boxing Universe. Hopefully you're doing well, son. Hopefully you're keeping well. Hopefully you're staying safe. Are you down? You're down in Liverpool. How's Liverpool right now? Is it quiet? I'd imagine it is with what's going on. I'd imagine it's like a ghost town. Yeah, man. Lucien Butte versus Carl Froch. Oh, was that fight in Nottingham? That's a great event, man. The atmosphere that night was crazy. That's the best atmosphere I've experienced in a boxing match, sorry. 100%. John Dealey, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're staying safe. You're washing your hands and you are, doing what you need to be doing in this crazy time that we live in. Crazy. You should rewatch the Marquez Vasquez fights. First three were insane. Yeah, man. Great fights. Those fights cost Vasquez's eyes. Sorry, his eye, one of his eyes. So that goes to show how brutal those fights were. That guy really laid it all on the line for our entertainment. Vasquez was a great fighter, as was Marquez. Both great fighters. Tremendous trilogy. Really, really great trilogy. Missing football just as much as boxing and MMA. Yeah, man. I'll take anything right now. I'll take anything. Any type of fight. I'd watch it right now. Any live fight. Could be it could be a fight between two Tanzanians for the heavyweight title, like the Tanzanian heavyweight title. I'd watch it. In quarantine and home training, been watching some classic fights. Watched Holyfield versus Kwai 1 and 2. Yeah, Muhammad Kwai versus Holyfield. That's a great fight. Both of them were. First fight was better. Yeah, Melvin Pillows. He can't even get hold of any pills or coke. Yeah, man. Even the drug dealers are quarantining, man. Christ, lazy bastards. Insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, Eggington versus the Tanzanian guy 2 is a dream fight. Yeah, I'd watch it, I'd watch it. 100%. 100%. Yeah, Holyfield was a great cruiserweight, man. He really was. He had hand speed. He could basically fight at all ranges, on the outside, the inside. Good body puncher. He could do everything, Evander Holyfield. And he went up to heavyweight and still competed. He was a great fighter, man. He really was. Tremendous career. His resume is insane. His resume was insane. I mean, it goes to show how good Evander Holyfield was, really. If you watch Evander Holyfield versus Nikolai Valuev, I felt Holyfield clearly won that fight. In fact, I felt Holyfield did a better job on Valuev than David Haye. So that goes to show how great Holyfield was. Did Kell Brook duck that Tanzanian? More than likely. More than likely. Yeah, Holyfield versus Dwight Muhammad Quarry was a great fight. No doubt about it. Listen, man, cruiserweight's a great division. I don't care what anybody says. It's produced some excellent fights up until now. Just a great division full of killers, full of madmen who go at it. That's what we want to see, man. Some great cruiserweight fights to really rewatch. If you want a fight to rewatch and you haven't seen it, watch Denis Lebedev versus Guillermo Jones. That was a hell of a fight. That was brutal, man. Great fight. I might actually rewatch that fight. To be honest, I need to rewatch it. I've not seen it for a while. John Wayne, he misses Gassiev. Man, I miss boxing full stop right now. I really do. Yeah, Guillermo Jones could have killed Lebedev. Yeah, he was juicing in that fight, it has to be said. But watching that fight, crazy fight. That's my favourite fight from last decade, to be honest. Just a brutal fight. Back and forth, and eventually Guillermo Jones got rid of him, but hell of a fight. Yeah, Kudryashov versus Makabu, that was a great fight as well. Good shout, Melvin. Jay's Boxing Universe, do you think there should be a super heavyweight division? I don't think so, to be honest. I just think boxing's convoluted enough. I don't think we need another division. I think it just complicates issues, to be honest. But that's just my opinion, you know? That's just my opinion. Yeah, Lebedev had no quitting him at all. Lebedev had a great chin, heart and balls, and he was a sneaky fighter as well. He was a good fighter. I felt Guillermo Jones beat Marco Huck back in the day as well, to be honest. He was a very good fighter. He really was. When he came over here and knocked out Enzo Macronelli, for example, you know, he was a good fighter. Watched Aaron Pryor versus Alexis Arguello the other day at 140. Yeah, that was a great fight. A lot of controversy, though, because of the bottle, whether there was something in it or not. I would say there was something in it, to be honest. It was mixed with something, but we'll never know. Aaron Pryor was a great fighter. He just, you know, he got hooked on drugs and, you know, he never really made good on his potential in a sense, but he was a hell of a fighter, you know, hell of a fighter. John Wayne, does Josh Warrington beat Gary Russell or Shakur? I don't think he beats either. I think he struggles in both fights, to be honest. I really do. Gary Russell, in my opinion, has just insane talents, insane physical attributes in terms of like hand speed and things like that. But the guy doesn't fight often, to be honest. And maybe now he's getting towards the end of his career. He's not really active. Maybe he's there for the taking, but Gary Russell at his best, I think, is too much for Josh Warrington. As for Shakur Stevenson, it's hard to say because we don't know how good that guy is. You know, that would be a massive test for Shakur Stevenson. If he could beat Josh Warrington, he's the real deal, no doubt. Briedis versus Usyk and Dorticos. Sorry, Briedis versus Usyk and Dorticos versus Gassiev. Yeah, those great fights as well. GB Boxing, he's saying we don't need any more divisions. I totally agree. Yeah, Melvin, Josh Warrington versus Can Xu. That's a great fight. That's a great fight. I think Warrington wins, to be honest. But Can Xu, again, he's a guy who, he's not a puncher, but he has crazy punch output. That fight could break CompuBox records, I kid you not. Warrington versus Can Xu. That's a great fight. Aaron Pryor, in my opinion, has the greatest chin from 147 and down. Damn. That's a hell of an accolade. Aaron Pryor never really made the most of his ability, though, as far as I'm concerned. That guy was just a brute, man. He should have done a lot more. He really should have. Should have done a lot more. Yeah, John, I agree, man. I like Gary Russell. I like watching him fight, but the guy's not made the most of his ability. His resume right now should be looking a lot better than it is, to be honest. You know, Gary Russell is just a waste of talent. He really is. Again, he's still got time. He can still get some good wins, but he should have a lot of wins under his belt by now. But it's not really happened. never unified, never done anything like that. His career is just lacking. It really is. It really is. Yeah, Gatti was in some great fights, Jay's Boxing Universe. He was in some great fights. He really was. Guy was a real life Rocky, Arturo Gatti. And yeah, his death was very suspect, to say the least. A lot of people believe his fiance or wife, whatever she was, had something to do with it, but we'll never know. We'll never know, man. Yeah, exactly, ABC. I totally agree. Russell's resume is not good enough for that type of fighter. It's really not. It's really not. And he can beat most of these guys, in my opinion, at his best. John Wayne, Gatti's the Cobain of boxing. Yeah, exactly. Again, a lot of people don't think Kurt Cobain killed himself. A lot of people think, what's her name? Courtney Love, whatever her name is. A lot of people think she had something to do with that. Potentially. I've not really looked into that conspiracy, to be honest, so I can't really speak too much on it. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that about Kurt Cobain, that, maybe he didn't kill himself. But who knows? Who knows? GB Boxing, Hearn doesn't produce world champions, he inherits them. I agree, he doesn't really produce many guys from ground up. He produced Joshua, of course, but, he doesn't really, he's not that type of promoter. I don't think he's got Frank Warren's knowledge of boxing. I think Frank Warren is a lot better at matching prospects and building guys up, things like that. But Eddie Hearn is definitely a better promoter. There's no doubt about it. Frank Warren has better matchmaking skills for young fighters especially. But that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. Gatti was so fun. His nickname is also a brilliant nickname. It suited him well. Yeah, Gatti was great. He really was. Not a great fighter in that sense, but he was great for fans. He produced some amazing nights. He really did. He really did. Had a heart of a lion. I think Warrington is one of those fighters, just freak stamina. Yeah, exactly. I agree. He does have a very impressive gas tank, though. He's physically strong as well. He's like a little pit bull, just doesn't stop going. Got a great engine, and that type of style gives most people problems. If you can't lay that guy out, he's just going to keep on coming. So he's going to give anybody problems. I think you can negate him. As Kid Galahad showed, whether you felt he won that fight or not, he's certainly done a good job of spoiling and negating Warrington. It's going to either take one of those fighters to beat him or somebody who lays him out. One of those two. ABC Def, I don't dislike Hearn. He talks shit, but he does promote well. Yeah, 100%. I'm not the biggest Eddie Hearn fan, but I certainly don't dislike him. He's done some good things for boxing. There's no doubt about it. But, at the same time, I don't really drink the Kool-Aid either. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those ones. John Wayne, Fat Mick Hennessy has a great resume of finding prospects. He just can't promote to save his life. Yeah, look at the guys he's had over the years. He's had James DeGale, Tyson Fury, Chris Eubank Jr., Carl Froch. The guy's had some really good fighters, but he's never been able to keep hold of them. And every single one of his fighters who have left him have gone on to earn more money and get bigger fights. He just can't push these guys to the next level. Again, Mick Hennessy is definitely a boxing man. There's no doubt about it. But promotional-wise, I don't think he's particularly that great. But again, if Mick Hennessy had the Sky model, who knows? Maybe he would be a force to be reckoned with. You have to take that into account as well. Not all of these promoters, have massive backing or big TV deals. And it's hard to get them. It really is. It really is. Yeah, he had Darren Barker as well, John Wayne. Yeah, 100%. I forget about Darren Barker. ABC Def, what's up with Oscar Valdez? Last time I heard he was going to fight Burchelt. According to Burchelt, that fight's nearly done. So that'll be a good fight. That's a war. I think Burchelt beats him, to be honest. I think Valdez is kind of stagnating. He's been in a lot of hard fights. So I don't really anticipate Valdez winning that fight. But I do think it's a war. I really do. I think it's a war. Yeah, big up unbiased heavyweight rankings and news. Fat Mick just got 1.5 million for Fury. He's not doing too bad. Yeah, sounds like he needed it as well because a lot of people were saying he really suffered financially after that Hughie Fury Joseph Parker fight. He put a lot of his own money up, and it went pear shape. So yeah, he needed that 1.5 million, no doubt about it. But he's still trying. He's still soldiering away. He's still trying to put fights on. So fair play to him. He's clearly got a passion for boxing because he's not making money in boxing. I'll tell you that. He's clearly got a passion for boxing, so you can only really commend that. And you can tell he actually develops relationships with his fighters. You can tell he really cares. So as much as we kind of take the mickey out of Mick Hennessy, I think his heart's in the right place, and I certainly believe he's there for the good of boxing. I really do. I think Warren does a good job matchmaking wise, but he's struggling now that his funds are low. A lot of Dubois opponents were lacking last year. The best matches for Dubois have been in-house. Yeah, 100%. 100%. GB Boxing, interesting fact about Corona. Did anyone see the test run the Gates Foundation did with coronavirus before the China outbreak? Exactly 1.5 months before the first case. No, I didn't see that. I didn't see it. What the fuck is going on? Yeah, Mick Hennessy's best quote. Shades of Ali. Big up Mick Hennessy. Mick Hennessy's going to waste that money on a purse bid for Hughie Fury. Oh, dear. Mick has a lot to do with the MDMA trade in Manchester. Now, Melvin Pillows, is that true or not? I'll be surprised if that's true. I really would. There's certain guys in boxing we know are dodgy, but we'll see. We'll see about Mick. We'll see. Yeah, I agree, ABC. I think Burchell will be too much for Valdez. Valdez, man, he looks like a shop-worn fighter already. John Wayne, do you listen to the Boxing Asylum? I do. I like the Boxing Asylum. I listen to that when I'm working, I listen to their podcast. I'll stick it on while I'm working. I like the Boxing Asylum guys. They know their stuff. They really do. I mean, the footwork. It was shades of Ali. Yeah. Big up Mick Hennessy. Mick owns a transport firm who are used to bring the MDMA to the Northwest. Interesting. Again, these are pure. This is just alleged, just to put it out there, to cover our backs. Mick's going to be outside Creamfield selling wraps. Big up Mick. Big up Mick. Christ. Mick Hennessy, man. The guy sticks around, though, so you can only really credit that, to be fair. You can only give him credit. His son's fighting now as well, Mick Hennessy. Mick Hennessy Jr. That kid, man, I saw him fight the other... I forgot what card it was. I think it was in Saudi Arabia on the Khan Billy Dib card. And yeah, that guy didn't look particularly great, to be honest. But it looks like a fun fighter. I don't really see him getting anywhere, though. But we'll see. We'll see. Christ, lads. I think we're all going to go stark raving mad with what's going on. I'm still trying to live my life as normally as possible because, listen, they say about, going out once a day, only shop for essentials. Listen, man, I went to the shop yesterday just to buy beers, to be honest. Fucking hell. I had a cramp band. That's why my voice went. But yeah, went to the shop the other day just to buy beers. And the guy looked at me like I was some fucking kind of dickhead. Like it's not essential. Yes, mate, it's essential. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to try. I still try to live my life as normal as possible. Not that we can really do much, but I ain't letting these bands stop me from doing what I want to do. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. It is what it is. Christ. I still don't know. I still don't know whether to believe it about Mick Hennessy. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. Boxing's full of dodgy people. Frank Warren. Look at some of the ties he's got. A lot of these guys are dodgy. There's no doubt about it. So I wouldn't be shocked if that is true about Mick Hennessy. I wouldn't be shocked. Again, these are only they're merely allegations, but I wouldn't be shocked. Bro, let's have a look. 1 second. I'm going to have a look at the old BoxRec schedule to see if there's anything at all this weekend. Let's have a quick little gander. 1 second. Christ, I'm looking at this shit now, man. I'm going through withdrawals. I really am. This is what like a heroin addict feels like when he's not had a fucking fix in weeks. Crazy talk. Crazy. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. I can't even see it, man. Fuck's sake. I've got to log into... Why do BoxRec make you log in, man? That's so annoying. Christ. Wankers, man. Complete... I don't even know my fucking password. Oh, you tosser. Yeah, I don't know my password. I can't even log into BoxRec. Why do you need a password to go on BoxRec? Jesus Christ. He's got a lot to do with the KFC trade, 100%. Oh, dear. Crazy. Crazy. Anyway, I need a list of fights that I've not seen that I need to see. Some classic fights. I'm gonna look in a bit, but I'm just lost for words right now in regards to what to talk about. There's just no real topics right now. There's no real topics. Just crazy, crazy stuff, man. It's crazy. You don't realise how much you appreciate boxing until it's gone. We always complain about certain things in boxing, fights not getting made, etc. But right now, we'll take anything. We really would. We'll take anything. Plays a big part in all of our lives, man. No doubt about it. Boxing's an escape for me. No doubt about it. And when there's no live fights to talk about, it's tough, man. It's tough. I can't lie. That's been the hardest thing about this outbreak. I can't lie. I can deal with, being restricted in regards to what I can do in a day. I can deal with that. But no boxing, that's killing me right now. I can't lie. That's killing me. Absolutely killing me. Yeah, big up to Revolution in the chat. It's his birthday. Birthday boy Revolution. Other prostitutes closed for business. More than likely, brother. More than likely. No, listen, man. They ain't going to close. They're not going to close. It's not exactly the worst thing they're going to catch, is it? Do you know what I mean? They're going to keep on doing what they do. They're going to keep on doing what they do. Fucking hell. Yeah, I think my channel's been shadow banned, by the way. I think it's been shadow banned. Fucking YouTube, man. It is what it is. John Wayne, he's locked down on the booze. Nothing going on. Might kill this dog, mate. Fucking hell. Lucas Matisse versus John Molina. Yeah, that was a great fight. That was a hell of a fight. Lucas Matisse was in a lot of trouble in that fight as well. He got hurt badly. He got dropped. That's a great fight. Don Hearn, it's his birthday as well. Happy birthday to both of you. Sorry that it's come on a terrible day, man, in this time. You can't really do anything. That sucks. My birthday's coming up, May the 5th, so hopefully this is cleared up by then. I've been working from home, man, and it's so weird. It's not the same. It's not the same, man. Are you all 1991? My brother's 1991 as well. I'm 94. 1994, mate. My birthday year was great for movies, man. There's some great movies in 94. Damn, a Revolution and Don Hearn are both 29 as well. Same birthday, same age. Crazy shit, crazy shit. I'm not going to be on long Revolution, by the way. This is really just a quick one, to be honest. Next one I'm on, though. Next long one I do, I'll drop you a link. But yeah, this is just going to be a short one, to be honest, just to kill a bit of time. There's nothing really to talk about as well. That's the thing. Like, I'm done to death with Wilder Fury 2. I really am. I can't be bothered about people are still talking about that fight. Jesus. People are still talking about it. People are just milking it at this stage. Do you know what I mean? Ruslan Provodnikov versus Marcus Maidana. That would have been a great fight. I think Maidana would have won it, but it's a great fight. Provodnikov, man, that guy was a savage. He really was. Yeah, Revolution, man. Again, I get that, it's a big fight. The two fan bases really are at odds with each other. I get all that, man, but surely at some point you just move on. I just don't. You can only say the same thing a few times, man, before it gets repetitive and boring. So, yeah, I'm done with that. I'm done with Wilder Fury 2. Just can't be bothered with it. All the excuses, they've been debunked. They've been laughed at. Let's move on. Let's just move on. Amir Khan versus Kell Brook, prime for prime. Who wins? I would have said, I would have always backed Kell Brook to win that fight, to be honest. Amir Khan in his prime would have definitely given Brook problems with the speed, the in and out movement. But Brook is a precise, straight puncher. He's a very good counter puncher. I can't see Amir Khan avoiding that right hand for the whole fight. I think he'd have walked into something big and more than likely got knocked out, to be honest. I would have taken Kell Brook in his prime to beat Amir Khan, just stylistically, to be honest. I think Kell Brook had his number. And I think that's why that fight never happened. Holyfield versus Alexander Usyk at cruiserweight. Who have you got? That's a damn good fight. The two best cruiserweights of all time. That's a hard fight to pick, to be honest. Evander, if it turned into like an inside type fight, like a war, I would have favoured Evander Holyfield. But in a boxing match, if Usyk could stick on his toes and stick and move, I think he could beat Holyfield. It's just what type of fight it turns into. I've got a feeling Holyfield would make it a war and really get on Usyk's chest and maybe grind out a decision. But I wouldn't really be sure either way. But I think if I had to pick, I'd more than likely pick Holyfield. Close points win. Hell of a fight, though. That's a hell of a fight. That is the ultimate cruiserweight fantasy fight, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. It all depends on when they fought ABC, Brook and Khan. Like, even right now, I still favour Kell Brook. I can't lie. Yeah. I think about Usyk versus Holyfield as a Usyk win because he's too smart to war with Holyfield. But obviously, in a war, Holyfield would win. Yeah. Although Briedis, he managed to draw Usyk into a bit of a war, So I think it can be done. It's just whether Holyfield can close the gap, keep on Usyk's chest and make it a hard fight, make it a rough fight. If he can, then, I think he's got a great chance. And yeah, as John Dealey said in the chat, Holyfield was very fast as well in his prime at cruiserweight. He was very fast. Great combinations. Just a great all-round fighter. He really was. Watching Holyfield like at cruiserweight compared to heavyweight, it's like watching two different fighters, to be honest. Holyfield at cruiserweight was just a lot more fluid, a lot more quick, like John said. Almost different fighters. He could rely on his boxing a lot more at cruiserweight. Whereas at heavyweight, he had to make certain sacrifices, had to alter his style to really compete. Would a comeback version of George Foreman have any chance of beating Mike Tyson in the 90s? Very good question. I think he's got a puncher's chance, no doubt about it, but I believe Tyson would have outworked George Foreman to a points win. I don't think Tyson would have knocked out Foreman, to be honest, but I would see it playing out similar to Tommy Morrison versus George Foreman. I think it would be a similar fight to that, to be honest. John Wayne, he says Holyfield smashes Usyk to bits. I would certainly pick Holyfield, but I think it's a very hard fight. I think it's a close fight, but I would lean towards Holyfield. To be honest, both Usyk and Briedis ain't proven two savage warlords. So he's got a better chance to do well in the war against a guy who's, yeah, I agree. I agree. Imagine young George with old George's chin. Yeah, old George was a different fighter to young George. The older George Foreman, he tried to box a bit more, tried to get behind that jab a little bit more, pick his spots with that right hand. One of my favourite Foreman knockouts was against Jerry Cooney. That knockout was sick. How he finished that fight with the uppercut. That's a great knockout, man. A hell of a knockout. The thing with Tyson, if you can get past 6 rounds, Tyson gasses. So Big George has a decent chance. Yeah, late in the fight, George Foreman could actually catch Tyson, maybe knock him out or hurt him at least. So that's Tyson's problem in that fight. If he can't blast Foreman out of there early on, then down the stretch, Foreman's going to be very dangerous. But I think Tyson would have outworked him and got to the decision and won on points. That's what I would have said, personally. Maybe he could have knocked George out. Who knows? Maybe he'll be a bit too much. What about a prime George Foreman versus a prime Mike Tyson? Damn. I would have probably... I would have leaned towards George Foreman, prime George Foreman, to be honest. Prime George Foreman, I would have leaned towards. We saw how prime George dealt with Joe Frazier, who's similar to Tyson, not entirely the same fighter, but they bear similarities. And I could see Big George Foreman in his prime knocking Tyson out. In a war, though, it'd be a war. Foreman-Frazier was one-sided. Foreman versus Tyson, Foreman-Tyson in their primes, that would have been a war, but I just think Big George would have got to him, to be honest. Notorious King, big up to you. Yeah, Jerry Cooney, he knocked out Ken Norton, yeah, he did. 50s Liston versus 70s Foreman, that's a hell of a fight. Liston was the original Mike Tyson, basically. Ramrod jab, aggressive fighter, had that fear factor. He was the original Mike Tyson. That would have been a hell of a fight, man. I'm not sure in that one. I'm really not sure. 50s Liston versus 70s Foreman. Damn. Who have you guys got in that fight? I'm not sure. I've got a feel. I might lean towards Foreman, to be honest, but I'm really not sure. That jab of Sonny Liston is a problem. His jab is one of the best jabs in the division's history, as far as I'm concerned. But that's a great fight. Melvin Pillows, he's off. He's going to tug the old shaft and go to bed. Having an early one. Fair play to you. Prime versus Prime is such a hard pick in so many ways, I agree. I don't really see that one going the distance, I'll tell you that much. I think somebody's getting knocked out, and I would lean towards Foreman winning. But it's a great fight. Didn't they used to spar back in the 60s? I've got no idea, Nick Campbell. I'd have loved to have seen it if they did. I'll tell you that much. That's as good as watching a live fight, watching those two spar. Crazy. How many rounds would it take a prime Foreman to kill Wilder? 3 or 4 rounds, I would say. To be honest, 3 or 4 rounds. Wilder couldn't cope with Big George. No way in hell. Okay, so George was Sonny's sparring partner. Interesting. I never knew that. So you learn something new every day. How about that? How about that? Yeah, big up for Quags. Big up Quags. How you doing? Hopefully you're staying safe. You're doing well. Big up Tone as well. Tone in the building. Okay, Nick Campbell, he's seen a photo of them sparring. I'd have loved to have seen those guys spar. I really would have. That'd have been great to watch, man. That'd have been great to watch. Imagine having to separate those guys. They'd have gone at it, man. They would have gone at it. That'd have been a fucking great spar to watch. But yeah, man, they were great fighters. Like I said, Sonny Liston's jab was like a fucking power punch in itself. Amazing jab. Melvin Pillows. Oh dear, dear, dear. Notorious King, interesting question. Now both AJ and Wilder have been exposed in their defeats. Who has the advantage if they fought now? It's an interesting one. I still think Joshua would be susceptible to Wilder's right hand, but on the flip side, if you get on Wilder's chest and bang and push him back, he's not effective. If Joshua can get past that right hand and put it on him, Joshua wins by knockout. But can Joshua take that right hand? I don't really think so. I think it's 50-50 now, to be honest. Before the Fury second fight, I would have picked Wilder. But right now, given how that turned out and how he looked, how he's dealt with it since, I see it basically as 50-50, to be honest. I still want to see Joshua again, to be honest. I want to see him against Pulev, see how he looks, But it's a hard fight to call, that one. It really is. It's a hard fight to call. I'd still like to see it, though. I would still like to see it. Somebody's getting knocked out. I don't think we're going to see it anymore, though. I think that fight's, not going to happen. Which is a shame. It's a shame. Looks like Wilder Fury 3's happening in October. So we've got that to look forward to. All the back and forth, all the nonsense. Great. I really think a fighter who has a really high fight IQ could beat Wilder if they avoid the right hand. Yeah, exactly. Avoid the right hand. You can either outbox him like Fury did in the first fight, or you can put him on him, or you can put it on him and make him fold. There's ways to beat Wilder. We've seen it. You've literally just got to avoid the right hand. That's it. That really is it with Wilder. Big up Stephen Lawler. ABC Def. Pulev's not going to make Joshua look good. It's hard to look good against this version of Pulev. See, I don't know about that. I've got a feeling Pulev is shot to bits. I really do. I mean, this is a guy who got buzzed by Hughie Fury. Do you know what I mean? He didn't look too good against Bogdan Dinu. I think the guy's there for the taking. If Joshua is, back to his aggressive self, I could see him cleaning Pulev out in a couple of rounds. I really could. Maybe I'm going over the top, but I really believe Pulev's he's going to get smashed to pieces. Nearly 40 years old. He's seen better days. I don't see how he wins that fight. He could catch Joshua with a few jabs here and there. Maybe rock his head back a few times, but I think Joshua's going to smash him to pieces, if I'm being honest. ABC definitely doesn't want to see Wilder Fury again. Neither do I. I really don't. I think we know Tyson Fury is the better fighter. As far as I'm concerned, he beat Wilder both times. I don't want to see a third fight. I want to see Wilder in there with other guys, and I want to see Fury in there with other guys, to be honest. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in the fight itself right now, and I'm certainly not interested in the back and forth between both sets of fans. I think that's become very tiresome, to be honest. I really do. Very tiresome. Does a heavyweight James Toney beat Deontay Wilder? Now, that's an interesting one. Again, if Toney gets on Wilder's chest, he's going to beat him up on the inside. I don't care if James Toney's overweight when he was at heavyweight. If he gets on the inside against Wilder, he's going to piece that dude up. He really is. That'd be an interesting fight, A heavyweight James Toney versus Wilder. I wouldn't know who to pick. I'm going to pick James Toney. Fuck it. James Toney's my favourite fighter of all time, so I'm biased. What are you going to say? Joey Parker versus Michael Hunter. Who would win that one? Do you know what? I would favour Michael Hunter, believe it or not. I think it'll be a close competitive fight between two quick heavyweights. But I think Hunter, he's got a better punch output for a start. He's the quicker, more elusive guy. I could see him outworking Parker. But a good fight. I'd like to see that fight. A shame that fight's not been pushed or called for. I like that fight a lot, actually. I do. He's definitely going to lose, but imagine if Pulev just goes for a clinch and survives for as long as possible. Yeah, exactly. That could happen. Notorious King, he's got Pulev getting knocked out in 5 to 6 rounds. I could see that as well. I think it's going to be earlier. But yeah, 5 to 6 wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. Joshua Style's all wrong for Kubrat Pulev, to be honest. I think so. I don't think Joshua Style is great for Pulev. And on top of that, I just think Pulev is old. Pulev is shot to bits. Not shot, but he's well past it. He's well past it. Delboy knows boxing. That's my thoughts. Nah, thank you, man. Thank you very much. I try my best. I try my best. It's kind of hard right now, you know, with what's going on in regards to content, but times like this is what separate the men. It separates the men from the boys, you know. It really does. Yeah, the Quags with the super chat. Big up to the Quags. Thank you very much. He would rather see Wilder fight Ruiz, and Fury and AJ both need to hash it out. I 100% agree. Wilder versus Ruiz would be a very interesting fight, because if Wilder could box how he boxed Stiverne, I really believe he can beat Ruiz. Ruiz has no foot movement at all. He's got slow-ass feet. He can't cut the distance. If Wilder actually used the jab and fought in a similar fashion to how he fought Stiverne first time around, I think he could beat Ruiz, to be honest. But is Wilder smart enough to do that? Probably not. If he gets involved with Ruiz, he could get knocked out. So that's a good fight, the Quags. I agree. And yeah, Fury and Joshua, they need to fight. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Do you wish James Toney retired sooner than he did? I've got trouble understanding him in interviews. Yeah, James Toney, he went on way too long. He really did. He went on way too long. I think he really should have retired after the Samuel Peter fights. I think that's when he should have retired, to be honest. Wilder's going to lose again, and it's going to be another Roman Gonzalez situation where he loses to the same guy 2 times, then is supposedly shot, but he ain't going to come back like Chocolito did. Yeah, I think if Wilder loses to Fury again, I wouldn't be surprised actually to see him bow out and retire, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised to see him retire. And he's too fat and slow. He's a sitting duck for that right hand. Yeah, that could happen. That could happen. It's Andy Ruiz's foot speed that would be his Achilles heel in that fight. It's his foot speed. Can he close the distance and get past that range of Wilder? That's the thing. If he can, he's got a great chance. But, you know, like I said, his feet are so slow and he can't cut the ring off. So if Wilder uses his attributes, he can win that fight, in my opinion. But again, right now, what's Wilder's confidence like? Probably shot to bits. So it's going to be interesting to see how Wilder comes back. It really is. Stephen Lawler, big up Stephen Lawler. Wilder versus Ruiz is an interesting one because there's no real technical boxer in that fight. It's the explosive puncher versus the pressure fighter. Yeah, I think Ruiz has a lot more natural ability than Wilder, to be honest. I think he's more skilled, but stylistically, he does have problems in that fight. Wilder doesn't want to be a good boxer. He just wants to be known as intimidating and only tries to win by 1 punch. Yeah, and now he's lost. And now he's lost by knockout. That intimidation factor's gone. It's not the same now. A lot of people now are going to go into that Wilder fight with a lot more confidence, and they've got a blueprint how to beat this guy, you know? And psychologically, if you go into a fight fearing the opponent and really taking the power seriously, I think you're more susceptible to getting knocked out because you don't fight the way you usually fight. Now the guy's been knocked out. Now he's been basically exposed. People are going to fight with confidence and actually go in there and try to win and have a real belief in winning. You know, before with Wilder, he intimidated a lot of his opponents. He really did. A lot of these guys didn't really believe they could avoid the right hand. And we saw what happened. But obviously that wasn't the case with Fury. Melvin Pillows, my friend's a matchmaker for Mickey Helliott, and he said that this period could be the end for Mickey. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Mickey Helliott, Hellraiser Boxing. You know, he's a good little promoter down in London. He's a good talent spotter as well, Mickey Helliott. Yeah, hopefully he pulls through this. And that's the thing. I mentioned it in a video the other day with this coronavirus nonsense. the likes of Eddie Hearn, they're going to get through this fairly easily. But the small hall promoters, a lot of these guys are really going to suffer because they don't make much money at the best of times. They don't have TV deals, and they're really operating on a show-by-show basis. And a lot of these guys are going to go out of business. That's how they make their money. They make it on the live gate. And if there's no shows going on, they're not going to make money. And that's terrible for boxing in the UK. Grassroots boxing is a big part of UK boxing. A lot of people attribute the success of British boxing down to the amateur programs, and that's a big part. But grassroots boxing in the UK is massive. It really is massive. We get some great talents coming out of grassroots boxing. Look at Josh Warrington. He fought on so many small hall shows before he got on TV. And that's what these small hall promoters do. They get guys fights, they build people up, and then they move on. Without these small hall promoters, a lot of fighters are not going to be developing, they're not going to be active, and that's bad for British boxing. It really is. It really is. Crazy. It's hard times, man, for a lot in boxing right now. The small hall promoters, the fighters who don't really have big fan bases, who are starting out. It's hard times for a lot of these guys. Mickey lost money on the Ennis Brown versus Phil Bowes fight, which fell through last minute last year. He was relying on this period to pull him out. Yeah, I can imagine. That's the thing with small hall promotions, though. One bad incident financially, and that can really set them back, if not put them out of business. So it goes to show, if you're not Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, you're really going to struggle in the UK. You really are. I'm going to jump off in a minute on Rivaled, man. Just really a quick one, bruv. I'm going to jump off, mate. I just really wanted to get something out there, to be honest. Not too much to talk about anyway, so what can we do? What can we do? Hopefully you're keeping well, though, Mark. Hopefully you're keeping well. Yeah. I wonder what's going to happen with MTK and their golden contract. Yeah, I think it's just going to get postponed, to be honest. I think it's just going to get postponed. Yeah, John, I'm going to bail out as well, brother. I'm going to bail out, make a cup of tea, watch a few movies, just chill out, man. Fuck it. Anyway, lads, thank you guys for joining. Just a real quick one, to be honest. Just a real quick one. But yeah, I will do a longer live stream probably tomorrow or the day after. But yeah, I just really wanted to get something out there quick. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Smash the like. Peace.